abilities. Here we offer you, we gon' show you on your way. The content, it never strays from positive and uplifting. Once a week, it's so gifted. With the presence of your eyes, what a distraction. Beautiful as so, especially in action. This year, not fashion. Came in abundance. Films like in Sundance. Tech like the pop art. Touch queen. You are Curtis, a beast heart. You must carry, cause MCs, they all vary. Some do, they motivate. Work for the hate. We serve the hope on the plate. Across different platforms. Let's hear what you play. Hydration like Boucher. Don't focus on the day. We always here for you. Scope of you emotionally broke. Settle in our knowledge and conversations, don't make them yours. What we run is the limit, now your hands on the torch. Take it easy like Sundays on the porch. MediaScope of you emotionally broke. Settle in our knowledge and conversations, don't make them yours. What we run is the limit, now your hands on the torch. Take it easy like Sundays on the.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the livest media, tech, and pop culture show in the land, in my opinion, anyway. This is MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. And who am I? If you don't know by now, let me learn you. Let me school you in terms of who I am. My name is Tachi. I am a media professor, a filmmaker, a media content producer. I am also a journalist. And again, I am running the show today. So here I am. This is me. The host and creator of MediaScope and also Be More. And we have a great guest today. Here's some more details about MediaScope. We're here every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time on all of these channels. So let me say hey to everybody now. If you are watching us on YouTube, what it do. For those of you watching us on Bookface, it's good to see you. If you happen to be a Twitcher and you're watching us on Twitch, I am happy to have you here. Yay. If you happen to be listening or watching us on my other Facebook channel, by the way, if you're watching me on my personal Facebook, I'm going to try hard to get to your comments today. Hopefully they come up. If not, give me time because I'm switching back and forth. So give me some grace today. LinkedIn, what's up? I'm really not trying to be shady today, LinkedIn. So welcome, LinkedIn. It is good to see you. And if you have the good fortune to be listening to us tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Gospel 107.1 FM in Nassau, Bahamas, and the rest of the Caribbean, we wish you a multitude of blessings. Don't worry, your theme song is coming. It's coming. I don't have it today, but it's coming. So picture the Amen song playing in your head. All right. And yeah, also, guess what? If you are a YouTuber and you're not subscribed, why? You're already watching. So make sure that you like and subscribe on YouTube. We are really trying to make our YouTube flourish and grow. So thank you for watching it. Like and subscribe. As they say, smash the like button. Wow. So let's look at it. Let's see who's here. Hey, DS is here. What's up, DS? And he says, hello to me and fellow media scopers. What's up? Oh, you need the hug. Okay. Thank you, DS. Let me do it properly. I'm giving everybody the hug to let you know I appreciate you being here. You could be any place else, but you chose to be here with me. And for that, I am forever grateful. So thank you, DS, for being here. And screeching in on one wheel, we've got the Queen of Food Truckery and the Minister of Libation, Serena Wills, who has got the food truck. Beep, beep, who's got the keys to the food truck? She does. So it is Taco Wednesday, folks. We are never here on Tuesdays. We're always here on Wednesday. So today is a Taco Wednesday. But honestly, this is like the bomb place to figure out what you're going to eat. We talk about food so much here that there's no excuse for you not to know what the hell you're going to eat tonight. So figure it out on the food truck. And I know we have some specials because guess what? We have a guest today, and I'm super excited. Before we introduce him, also we have, let's see, Tanya, what's up? Oh, it's destined to be. What's up? Okay, we have another alias here, do we? What's up, destined to be, or Tanya D? What's up? Thank you so much for being here. I am so happy to see you here. And by the way, again, if you are watching on LinkedIn or you are watching on my personal Facebook page, you have to give me a minute to get over to the other side because your comments are not populating for me here. But I appreciate you and I see you and I will recognize you in due time. I'll pop over to where you are. So with that, without any further ado, I would like to. Oh, but by the way, before we do that, if you are going to CQ Carnegie Hall tonight. Be safe, have fun. For those of you that don't know CQ, that is the experience that DJ D Nice created during the quarantine and has continued to today. We are in year 3 of Club Quarantine, and he has turned them from his living room into live and his studio into live experiences. And they're doing something great tonight. They're doing the second time they've been at Carnegie Hall. They have a bunch of great guests, and there is a live orchestra. I'm digging that. So I'm hoping somebody is going to live stream so we don't have FOMO. But you've got me. I mean, not that that's an acceptable replacement, but I'm going to try my darndest to make sure you're having a good time. And so is my guest. We do have a special. It is a Beat the Heat for Real special. Buy one icy smoothie or ice cream, get one half off. That's what I'm talking about. And look who's over here on the LinkedIn side. Stephen Kaplan. He says, I'm here. It's been a while, but I never forget you. Much love always. Much love to you, Stephen Kaplan, native Brooklynite. Welcome and fantastic, fantastic photographer and social media strategist. Day one media scoper, Jawaru Gambian, is over on the YouTube side, on the tubing of the U. It is good to see you. All right. Now, I have a special treat for you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a guest today. How lucky are we that I'm able to keep having wonderful guests on? So we had guests last week. We had two great individuals. Today we have another great individual, and I am so excited to talk to him. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to talk to him right after this. So stand by. Law!
Yes, indeed.
How are
How
you?
are you? How are
Oh
you?
my goodness. I am, look, I'm trying to make this all work and fly, and it is amazing what you can do when technology fails you.
That's right. We're creative, but you're making it work, and I'm already enjoying myself just being in the presence of it all. As a longtime fan of the show, thank you for having me here.
Thank you for coming on. I'm very honored. This is absolutely amazing. I'm so honored to have you on. And so let's do a little bit of this. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to introduce himself. But if you have questions or comments, please put them in the chat. You know we love questions and comments here. So, Law, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh man. Well, my real name is Lawrence Taylor Worrell Jr., but I'm known to fans and musicians and people who I've worked with. I go by the name of LAW. From Brooklyn, St. Mark's Avenue, Crown Heights, Albany Project, stand up. Coming straight from a somewhat famous musical family, known for my work with artists such as the late great Amy Winehouse, Parliament Funkadelic, Dionne Warwick, Lionel Richie, and the list goes on and on.
Wow, 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 wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. So here, let's bring you back on. Sorry. All
Mm.
right. There we go. You know I'm working with what I have here. So
I was flowing with you, so just
yeah, absolutely.
no,
Cool
I dig
beans.
it.
All right. So in terms of what is it that you do exactly? So I think I know you sing, but you also rap.
Hmm.
You're a musician. You're a dancer. Where did this all start? How did you get started doing this?
Well, like I said before, coming from a musical family, my family was my Juilliard for music, so
Mm,
there was no escape. Everybody had a section. So, starting with my legendary grandfather, Sam Bluesman Taylor, and his work with Etta James and Jody and the Starlighters and BT Express and Brass Construction and all those groups that came out of Brooklyn. He was part of that infrastructure that created what we know as Brooklyn funk. So that it starts with him, you know what I mean? And of course, my mother, first place winner at the Apollo Theater, my legendary uncle Bobby Real Deal Taylor, 13-time winner at the Apollo Theater. And most people may know my cousin Cheryl Pepsi Riley, known for her number one hit, Thanks for My Child, and all the stuff that she's done with Tyler Perry over the years and things of that nature. So I grew up in it. So that's where it all started for me. Of course, singing was first. I was probably singing before I could talk. And then it led to instrumentation because of my legendary uncles, Tony T. Funk Austin, who played with James Brown and Kool and the Gang.
Okay.
Then my other uncle, Rudy Worrell, who also played with Millie Jackson and Blue Magic and the Dramatics. And these were all, both of them were sought after drummers all around the New York area. But because they played with so many people, you could bring their name up in any musician circle and the conversation would start. So I got it honestly. But of course, even if you have it honestly, work still has to be done. So from the ages, by the time I turned 7, I was already performing on stage with my mother and my uncles and stuff. And then by the time I turned 11 and 12, me and my brother and my cousins, we were already living the club life. We was already performing in clubs, being underage and stuff like that. So by the time we really got in the mix of school and all that stuff, it became a regular thing for us. So I was born into it. That's how it basically all started for me. You know, just each component, you know, singing already in church. Then this thing called hip hop came into the mix. And because my other uncle, Jock Taylor, rest in peace, Showbiz, he was already hanging out with Kumo D and Busy B and all those guys in the Bronx. So we was already getting it firsthand on what this rap hip hop thing was about. So in addition to me being a singer and being a musician, I'm like, I can do that. And then I was already dancing like everybody else. You know, Michael Jackson influenced everybody. So all the young black kids that wanted to dance, and of course the Rocksteady crew, you know, Crazy Legs and the movies Breaking, Beat Street, and all those different things. My worlds collided musically between the ages of 7 and 13 years old. So that's how you got me.
Wow. So it was almost as if you had no choice, that music and rhythm was in your future. Did
Yeah.
you ever have any thoughts of doing anything else? Because I
Oh,
know
absolutely.
that this is not an easy path. The path of an artist is not one that's easy. And sometimes it's
Woo.
like, let me just go get an accounting job somewhere, right? So did you ever have those thoughts? And did you ever attempt to do that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if and as most of my fans know, if I wasn't doing music, I would be boxing, which is interesting because most of my
Mm,
nephews and cousins, like David Flat Sparks and my nephew Aubrey Taylor, and then my other nephew Caleb Taylor, they're all studying to be MMA fighters. They're in the mix of doing the
really?
sports. They do music too, but the thing is that they're passionate about sports the way me and my older brother and most of my cousins were. So the thing is, I would be boxing. I still box this day, but I do it more so just to keep myself in shape. And of course, if I have to throw some hands, you know, hopefully not, but more so in keeping protection of that. But
Right.
football, and of course, I got a degree in journalism when I went to Kingsborough College. So I would either be doing
Really?
broadcast journalism, and of course, I was studying to be a paralegal. So I would have easily been a lawyer. And then I was a school teacher for 13 years. So that would have been an easy transition if I would have gave up on my Planet 12 vision and musical dreams. So all this was happening during around that time. But with each thing I tried to do outside of music, yeah, it was nice and it helped, but it was almost like no matter what, you can't escape the rhythm. That's the thing is like no matter how much I tried to say, well, you know, I might just do that and have something to fall back on and just in case. But then, you know, when you do many things like I do, I was just destined. And because Prince and Stevie Wonder are our two main idols who are known for pretty much producing and playing everything, I've always looked at it as if I had all these different talents, I could forever work. So why would I want to be anywhere else? Because most people that just sing, that's it. You just sing, you don't really songwrite, you don't play an instrument, you just go and you sing. And some people have been pretty fortunate to have a career where that works for them. But in the words of Diana Ross, it wasn't enough for me. You know, I had to, you know, the song Muscles, you know. So for me, it was like, you know, that's all right for them, but it wasn't enough for me. And I just was determined and I knew. So when I played my last football game as a running back, I just was like, it didn't even go to past like 3 or 4 games. I just was like, you know what? And by that point, a lot of my friends that were rhyming and performing like I was, they were getting record deals and all this other stuff. So I'm just like, yeah, this is where I need to be. And it seemed like
Mm.
God was showing me the whole time that, yeah, that other stuff is nice and you can do all that and you have a lot of those other talents too, but this is your calling. This is where I placed you. And I haven't looked back since. So
Mm. Wow, wow. So we have a few comments that we're going to do, but before we do that, let me just say, what's up, everyone? Welcome. If you're just joining us, we are welcoming you into the fold. This is MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. We are here actually every week. We are here every week, 6 p.m. Eastern time, sometimes 6-ish, but today we're on time because we have a guest and we're trying to respect time. So make sure that you are following us, and especially if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to get all the updates when you follow us. And we have a guest today. This is Law. So Law, hold on a minute. Do you say LAW or do you say Law?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Both. It has meanings, but it's usually both. In the streets it's like, no, law, what up, or 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 LAW or LA Dub, or my real street friends still call me L to this day. Yo, what up, L? What up, L? Like that kind of thing. So it goes either way.
Mm, mm. All right, all right. Well, so Law, LAW, however you want to call him, he is our guest today. And so let's take a couple of comments, and we do have a question. So Serena Law, let me just tell you, and you've seen this before, we have an imaginary food truck, which to us is very real. And so this is where these specials are coming from. And
Uh-huh.
don't be surprised, people. One day we may really have a MediaScope food truck. So we've got that Beat the Heat special, as I talked about.
Uh-huh.
Also, Cheryl Woods is clapping for you.
Oh, wow.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Tanya, it says Law repping the NE gear.
You
I
better
noticed
believe
your
it.
new edition shirt.
You better believe it. My big
Absolutely.
brothers.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you all came up like around the same time. So that's fantastic. Shelly Shell is here. What's up, Shelly Shell? She's watching over on the Twitch side. Stefan says P Funk forever. Damn, that's a
You better
crazy
believe it.
music background. Absolutely, absolutely. And let's see. GR Houston Jack, hello, my dear. How are you? Welcome. It is good to have you in the house. Also, Cheryl Woods has this question for you. When you did meet Amy Winehouse, what type of collaboration did you have with her, and what was she like?
Oh man. Amy, thank you for your question, Cheryl. Amy, I miss my little sis every day, man. I get emotional. I promise you, I travel everywhere when I'm doing these shows. Now I happen to be in the airport, and Valerie will come on the radio, and I just get real emotional. It takes me back to when we were coming up with choreography to sing behind on the road. I first met Amy through my very good friend Al Street, who was a guitar player that was part of the Daptone recordings. For those that know, the incredible, legendary late Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, Neil Sugarman, who was the creator of Daptone Records. I met through that whole circle, and that's how it led me to Amy, because I did a gig with them at the lead singer bailed out of a corporate gig, and they was digging what I was bringing to their show, and my boy Al was just like, yo, man, he said, we got to do more gigs with you. I'm like, sure, like we can do whatever you want to do. And of course, about probably I think a month later, I got a call from Amy's manager, Ray, and then they were asking me, hey, so we have this artist named Amy Winehouse. This is her second album coming out. Are you familiar with her? And I was shocked. I'm like, no, I never heard of her. I'm usually up on everything. So I was just like, let me see. He's like, well, they looking for another background singer who can dance, and we seen your work and your resume. Neil told us about you and how you turned the place out with them, and then when we found out you played with P Funk, we were like, oh damn, okay, well, we got to check him out. So that's how I met Amy, and so I ended up becoming not only her background singer for half of the first American tour that she did, because a lot of people forget that Frank is her first album, not Back to Black. Back to Black is her second album. So I was brought on board along with the brothers Xylon and Hashima, but Hashima couldn't do some of the shows because he's a soap opera star in London. So that's where they brought me in,
Mm,
and me and Xylon became the original background singing crew for if you'll see us on David Letterman. I got my white Kango on, styling. Then we did the MTV Movie Awards, and then Amy heard my demo, which eventually became my first album, The Planet 12 Syndrome, and she flipped over it and made me her opening act for the two shows that she did in New York, and we maintained a relationship up until then before she got deported and that whole situation. So that's my collaboration and my work with her, my history with her, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. I no matter where we go, I see people try to do our routines and stuff, and this is the routines that me and Xylon created as dancers and singers, and just her overall influence. People run up on me with tattoos of Amy and the songs that they love the most, and so it's emotional for me a lot of times, in a good way though. It's more so if nothing else never happened for my career, I can boldly say that I'm a part of Grammy Award winning history. So for me, and that plan of everything, me and Amy's mom Janice still keep in touch. Same thing with her father as well. Me and Xylon about to do some shows together in London very soon. He has a festival of his own. Matter of fact, when you get a chance, make sure you follow him on Instagram. Xylon Music, Zalon Music. Follow him on Twitter, Instagram, and all that stuff. He's a bad boy as well.
Fantastic. And I can imagine that there's a lot, because Amy Winehouse was such a phenomenal talent. I mean, and I still get chills every time I hear her sing. There's something about that voice.
Well, I
does it.
It's crazy because every time when I do, and people always ask me, do you ever get tired of talking? I said no, because you got to remember, real quick story.
Yeah.
When they were talking about when Ray was asking me, was I interested? At that point in my career, I already had sang backup for Freddie Jackson, Shaka Khan, and a few other people. So I was at this point now where it's like, listen, I ain't singing backup just behind anybody. And it's not arrogance, it's not conceit. But at that point, when you start to put together, if you're trying to build a platinum resume, you want to make sure that your name is attached to artists that means something, or a situation that you can speak very highly of in the long run. I mean, what artist doesn't want that? I mean, if the person can't sing and they don't perform, that's not something you really want to. And I've seen this happen before. I'm not going to say no names, but I've seen situations where, I would notice somebody from an act that didn't get a lot of play, or act that wasn't really liked upon, and they will literally get mad at the interviewer for bringing it up. Like, oh, don't make say we can talk about anything, but don't talk about that. I don't want even that one. I only want that mentioned in my name. And I used to, and the part of me still be like, well, it don't make no sense now. You might as well talk about it if you have nothing to be ashamed and nothing else. But then I understand too, when you're building your portfolio, and not even just in music, just in entertainment or anything that you do, when you go to look for another job, the first thing they're going to look at is, what are your qualifications? What's your resume? And at that point, I mean, after Freddie Jackson, Shaka Khan, and being a P-Funk member at that point, I had been about probably 7 to 8 years in at that point. I couldn't just be singing behind anybody. And the thing is that I told Ray on the phone, I said, well, let me get back to you and check my schedule. I was lying my ass off, but basically I was saying that I want to check her out because I don't know who this girl is. I mean, she sounds like she's pretty amazing with a very unique name, but that could be anybody. Let me see what she's about. And I went on my computer, I typed in Amy Winehouse, and the first thing that came up was a song called FB Pumps. I'm trying to keep it PG. And when I saw that,
the gospel station will
I have a Scorpio Brooklyn mouth, so I'm being very but it's the thing of I saw the song, that intrigued me by it. So I'm like, FB Pumps. I'm like, what's this about? And I can sense all the sensibilities in her. I heard the R&B, I heard the jazz, I saw the hip hop influence. I can tell she definitely listened to a lot of Lauryn Hill as well. And I was sold. I'm like, oh, she's dope. And I hit them right back. And I said, hey, Ray, count me in. He said, okay, well, your first gig is going to be David Letterman. I'm like, oh, wow, a show that I'm a fan of. And I get to appear on here singing background, but behind this girl who I'm just now meeting. And I just knew, and they sent me the copy of the album, and I became literally a diehard fan. This is before the world started swarming. I'm like, yo, she's dope. I love her sensibility. And what I want the world to know, because I've been offered so much money to talk about the struggles and the issues that she had, and I told them all to go F themselves on every account, because what I want people to know about the Amy that I got a chance to sit down and know and hang out with, this girl, and she was only 24 at the time. This girl knew her music. I put her to the test. The first conversation I had with her, I said, well, on the song Rehab, you said you can't teach me nothing that I didn't already learn from Mr. Hathaway. And of course, she's talking about Donny Hathaway. Shout out to
Yeah.
my big sis Layla. That's my homegirl. You know, me and Layla are very close. And the crazy thing is that I said, well, let me ask you a question. What's your favorite Donny Hathaway album? Because see, a lot of people, when they tell me that they're fans of a certain artist, you know, that's the part of me. I'm like, how much of a fan are you? Because anybody could say just Christmas or a song for you. That's easy. Or Where's the
Right.
Love with Roberta Flack or Back Together Again. I want to see how deep she was. And she looked at me. She said, well, you know, Lazi, that was her nickname for me. Well, Lazi, I love Extension of a Man.
Mm.
And that's my favorite Donny Hathaway album. So from that point on, there was no question about how real and how much Amy truly did her homework at the age of 24, and even before that, even before I met her. But just that made me feel good. I'm like, you know what? Her success is granted, is warranted. This girl, and I still to this day will say, if she was still here, it wouldn't have been a lot of room for them other girls to come in and do what they do. And I'm saying that boldly because Amy was ahead of the gamut with a lot of stuff. And her talent, there was so much of her talent that wasn't even exposed, like her guitar playing. And if you ever heard the acoustic version of Valerie with just her playing?
Yes, that's actually the version I like, not the radio edit. I like the acoustic version.
Yeah, and Amy was something special, and I miss her
Absolutely.
so much. So
Wow. Well, we have some more. These are great musings about Amy Winehouse. We'll get some more into that. Let's take some more comments and questions. And by the way, it's interesting because my podcast partner Kevin always says that I'm like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. That I'm somehow connected to everybody in some way. So I'm not
yeah,
connected to the Hathaways except for the fact that I went to Howard and walked the same path he went. So I'm
yes.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
No, that sounds like me too. I mean, that's why I the phrase that I probably hate the most, it becomes a pet peeve after a while. Lord know everybody, and I'm just like,
You do.
it sounds that way, but the thing is, you know, I'm a Scorpio, and if you know anything about us Scorpios, we're all about the energy, baby. I know a lot of people, but that don't mean I'm close to them. That doesn't mean that I got a chance to really kick it with them and know more about them. Because the ones,
Right.
I mean, for those who follow my page, if I got story, I have a separate Instagram page called Planet 12 Stories, besides Planet 12 Law, where I
Oh,
talk about
okay.
people who I've
Okay.
met and people who I've worked with, or just an odd story of one of my musical heroes, if I had an encounter with them or anything like that. But I mean, I do know who I know, but I don't want people to always say, oh, Lord knows everybody. I'm like, yeah, but it's not what you think it is. You'll eventually learn as you get to know more about me, you know, who I really know, who I'm connected to, who I just spent a lot of time with, or, you know, or things of that nature, you know?
Absolutely. So let's say hello to some more people. Terry
Yes.
Knight Nixon is here and is saying hello. Dr. Vibe, who has the livest conversations. He's an amazing person. Somebody that would be great for you to know, Law. He is
Oh,
up in
absolutely.
Toronto, and that would be great to hook the two of you up. He does like a show almost every day. So I think that would be a
I
good
would I would
connect.
love to do some stuff with him. Absolutely.
I will connect the two of you.
Thank you.
Also, let's go with Natalie Crew. I see you. Do you know
Natalie,
Natalie?
that's my
You
girl
okay?
right
I was
there.
like, you must know Natalie. First of all, Natalie is a day one media school. She said, "Who let Dr. Vine in here?"
Natalie
But
Crew, and I'm gonna say this boldly, and she can record me. Natalie Crew is the truth. That's one of
she
my
is
longtime supporters. Definitely someone I think people should follow too. In addition
yes.
to my page and other people who can give you the insight on the music business and knows the truth about this business and says it in pure form. And she has a resume herself. So when you get a chance to talk with people like her or me that can give you the real and not sugarcoat it and not make up stuff to make it sound appealing to everybody, you know, as well. So shout out to Natalie. That's my heart right there. Love that
Natalie
girl.
is amazing. In fact, Natalie is one of the advisory board members for the new network that I'm starting. So
Mhm,
she knows her stuff in terms of music, in terms of the Web3 space and the metaverse. She is
mhm.
absolutely amazing, and we also call her troublemaker number one because she likes to come here and cause trouble.
My kind of woman.
And that's what she does. Good trouble, of course. So what's
Yes,
up,
of course.
Natalie? We have some questions. Let's
Mhm.
go to DS. And he asks, what musician inspired you the most?
Oh man. Well, I mean, uh, it's an easy question, but it's a hard one too, because I mean, I have so many influences, but if I had to pick one, without question, it would definitely be this guy right here, Prince.
Prince.
Prince is my number one overall idol because even though Michael Jackson is my first primary idol, like I said earlier, if you were young, black, and from the hood, Michael was your first example because just the way he changed the game and the world in general, just from him being that spark on stage. But for me, Prince, and for me, later on, as I got deeper into songwriting, production, and musicianship, Prince became more of a go-to guy. Him and Stevie Wonder, but of course, Prince wasn't bounded by his guitar or the instruments that he played. You know, what I love about Prince is that he can give you virtuoso at any given moment, but then he can put the guitar down or anything else down and perform with the best of them and kick ass. And that's exactly what I saw myself doing, you know, in terms of that, even at such a young age, just watching, Purple Rain first, but then I had to go backwards to all the early stuff, which made me understand why people were calling him a genius and what made him so different from everybody else besides the imaging and everything else. It's because musically, no Prince album sounds the same. And same thing with Stevie Wonder. And I wanted to reach more towards that. So at 11 and 12, 13, I started to get more serious about producing, songwriting. By that point, I was already playing 5 instruments. So for me, Prince really became the template for how I want to base my career. So the simplest way to say that is I didn't want nobody putting me in a box.
Mm.
You dig what I'm saying? And that's important, especially when you're a black artist, because the thing is that Prince and Stevie, they didn't subscribe to being put in the box. You know, listen to an album like Songs in the Key of Life, where Stevie's doing everything from classical to pop to jazz. So he's going to definitely give you R&B and funk, because that's just who Stevie is. Same thing with Prince, but they showed us that we can go to other dimensions. Even my very good friend Lionel Richie, he's a great example, because Lionel Richie showed that it's okay to be R&B and country and pop at the same time. Why not?
Yeah.
We don't have to be stuck doing funk and saying ow and just doing what I did with the Commodores. I want to expand. I want to be able to do other things and be appreciated in all arenas. And that was my whole viewpoint, even at 12, 13 years old. And when I finally understood what Prince's mission was, it made sense. When I heard that he was 17 years old, when he told Warner Brothers, whatever you do, don't market me as an R&B artist. They looking at him like, little, what do you possibly know? No, we're going to do it the way you want it. But Prince had other plans. Prince was very smart. He outsmarted his own record label. He gave them a hit. I Want to Be a Lover. He gave them a hit. He said, I wrote that song because I knew I needed a hit. The first album didn't really do all that well. Once he gave them the hit, they did. We're going to get another album like this. He's like, no, I'm going to come out here with my drawers and a trench coat and make an album called Dirty Mind.
Yes.
And see what I mean? And that's the kind of artist I feel like, if you're going to be an artist, be fearless. Be raw in your expression. And I'm a Scorpio. So for me, that made so much sense. And then up until these guys came along, you know, New Edition was more direct, because even though Prince, James Brown, Stevie Wonder, Jimi Hendrix, and the Jacksons are my heroes, it doesn't make sense for a 8 or 10-year-old kid until you see kids that look like you, even if they're slightly older. And when I saw the Candy Girl video, they were doing what I was doing, singing, rapping, and breakdancing. You know, when you look at that Candy Girl video, it was so raw. Ralph says to this very day, he told me, he said, Lord, you know what, Lord, that's actually my favorite video out of all the videos that we've done, because we were so in the pocket with who we were. We weren't the boys next door, even though they were trying to market us that way. But that's pretty much what you see in that video. That's really who New Edition really is. 5 young kids from the projects that can sing, rap, and dance, and just wanted the shot. So that became even more of a direct influence for me, in addition to Prince and MJ and James Brown and Stevie and Hendrix, because those guys were adults. But New Edition, as well as New Kids on the Block, and definitely Force MDs, they were young adults, but they were more so like, they look a little bit more like me.
Yeah.
Sneakers, you know, the jeans, the hat.
Yeah.
you know, for me, it was like to see kids looking like me doing what I was doing, even though I'm younger than them. How could you not be inspired?
Exactly.
So I put all that in one gumbo, and that's how I became Planet 12. You know, that's a whole nother different arena. But the thing is that I put all my influences in there and made it like a pot of gumbo. But Prince will always be the number one overall because he influenced everybody the same way how Michael did. You know, Prince had a lot of influence. You know, you see it in certain songs. You know, Usher's doing this whole falsetto thing now where I'm like, yeah, he's going for that Prince thing. I see, you know, it's like his spirit is still here. So
absolutely, absolutely. And then, you know, the thing is, it's cyclical because then if you remember, I can't remember the DJ, but during the quarantine, there was a DJ who came on and he would basically strip down all of the songs to their components. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about,
I think,
but
well, it was actually a few DJs that
there were a
did that.
few who did that, but he would sit and talk. And I remember he broke down, it was Prince, and I can't remember what song, but he broke it down. And I had never heard every single instrument that way.
You sure it
And
wasn't
immediately,
Questlove?
no, it wasn't Questlove.
Okay, because Quest does that a
Quest
lot.
does that. Yeah, he did that. This was not Questlove though. I can't remember his name.
Is it Christian?
Was it Christian? Is that his name?
You know, Christian James, Sir Christian James Hand. He has a song called he has a show called The Sessions. That's my boy. He does that. That's what he's known for.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and look, but I enjoyed it so much. Like D Nice would send us over there, like after.
Yeah, that's him. That's him. Because it would be nice to
Okay.
close. That's
Yes.
him.
So I was listening one day and he broke down one of Prince's songs, and the first thing I heard, Fela Kuti. I heard Fela Kuti's drum. I'm like, oh my goodness. So you can hear where he got his influences from as well. So music is a continuum.
Well,
You don't
Prince,
know where it starts and where it ends.
yeah, and that's the thing that I think drew me closer to Prince out of everybody. And of course, Stevie Wonder is his idol. So for me, that was just easy for me because I was already, you know, what kid. Stevie's another one. What singer did you listen to? Brian McKnight and Wanya Morris from Boyz II Men. That's all Stevie Wonder. So for me, it's like it made it easy for me as a singer and as a musician to get into. And just last year, I had the pleasure of sitting with Stevie Wonder for 5 hours. I sat with that man in Beverly Hills for 5 hours, and I cried like a baby when I went to my hotel room. I've been waiting for that moment since I was 8 years old. When I saw his Love, Light, and Flight video, and I begged my mother to buy me a Casio keyboard so I could start teaching myself how to play. So for me, it was emotional. I met Prince too, but me and Prince didn't have that conversation. I'll tell you that story later. But me and Stevie, for 5 hours, I was able to ask that man everything that I wanted to ask him. I asked him what drum set did he use on Jesus Children of America? What were the sound modules for the for Part-Time Lover? Like certain things that people wouldn't normally ask him, because I felt like every time that they would interview him, they always just bring up the normal stuff that everybody asks, you know, songs the kid like, and rightfully so. Those are, you know, pinnacle. But Stevie Wonder got over 30 albums, and y'all only talking about 3. And that used to piss me off. When I had my own show, I had when I had my podcast, Pencil Podcast, I had the pleasure of having Queen Vanessa Williams on, and she said that I was one of her favorite interviews because I was asking her stuff that nobody don't ask her about. People forget that she's a recording pop star and she's one of my favorite singers. We talked about her albums. Everybody always talks about the one or 2 songs. So again, when I was with Stevie, I wanted to ask him everything that I wanted to ask him. And my heart was fulfilled just being able to sing with him a little bit and just sit there and have a conversation with him. And for me, that made everything. So, you know, hopefully before the year is out or probably next year, I'm gonna end up working with him. But still, for me, it's just being able to sit and talk with Stevie Wonder and ask him about who inspired which songs, like what girl was you thinking about when you sang I Was Made to Love Her? Because the way you sang on that song, I'm like, this girl must have been really special, because the vocal runs you were doing in that record, only a girl that fly could make you sing the way you sung on that record. And he was laughing. He was like, yeah, she was. You know? So for me, it's the whole golden part of it. And, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, somebody asked what you taught when you were a teacher. Did you teach music? I'm looking for the question, but I can't find it. But somebody asked, when you were a teacher, did you teach music?
Well, I mean, definitely that. I taught music history, taught a little bit of music theory. but I was mainly a reading and English teacher and a science teacher
Really?
too. I even taught Black history and American history
Wow.
because it's my aunt's school. My aunt had a school called Northern Minds Christian Academy, and I first started working with the with pre-K, which was nice, you know. But my thing was, I had just came out of high school, I think probably a year or two after that, and I already saw the youth going in the direction, you know, especially kids who are about 5 or 6, 7 years younger than I was, and I'm seeing them going down the wrong path and clicking up with the wrong people, and then it was becoming this thing where it wasn't cool to be smart.
Mm.
And the thing was, I asked my aunt, I'm like, can I teach high school? I said, because I feel like if I teach them, I'm more relatable to them. I'm from where they're from. So I don't have to be this Brooks Brothers suit corny dude to get their attention. They can see somebody who is still hood in the music industry, but supremely intelligent. And to this day, my students, I mean, most of my students who are on Instagram and Facebook, they thank me, or they'll send me a shout out. Some of them got families now, they're married, and it's like, wow, Mr. Roy, you still look the same. Like, oh my God, like, so for me, I did my part. That was me serving my community because I felt like if somebody is going to be the standard and the exception to show them that you can still be fly and still be smart and still be hood and all that other stuff. Like everybody always say that you can't be that person if you're not this person. So even in the beginning, my aunt didn't want me to, she wanted me to do the Brooks Brothers suit thing. And I'm like, Auntie, you know, I can do that, but I think it'd be more effective. I mean, I don't have to dress because I'm not, mind you, we all dress the same way. We from the streets, jeans and sneakers. So I would make it very casual. I would have a button-up polo shirt. That was still me. I'm a polo guy. So for me, it's like, you know, if they see that presentation, they'll be like, yo, Mr. Worrell, that shirt is dope, man. Where you get that from? And see, already when kids see that, because I wasn't trying to be them, I am them. That's me. That's me 6 years ago.
Right.
So it's relatable. I didn't jump on their level. It's more. It gave me the opportunity to show them, like, y'all ain't doing nothing new. Oh, I never seen them New Balances before. Where you get those? What watch is that? It's a Fossil watch. How much you pay for it? And I was real with him. I said, I only paid 135 for this. He's like, so why people be paying like $800? I said, well, it depends on the brand and some of the international, watch. People just like to show up. I said, but you don't have to wear a $600 watch to be fly. You can wear a $25 watch and still be fly. And that was my thing during my teaching years was to show my students that again, you can be fly and be intelligent, and you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You can be a leader. So I was trying to teach them how to think for themselves and be leaders and get an education. I kept it real with them. I said, look, everything in school that you're learning now, and a lot of it you're not going to really use outside of reading. Reading, English, and math is the most important thing. But I chose to teach Black history and American history so that they can learn their history and not his story.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a son of a Black Panther mother. So for me, it was important that they knew this is the real thing. This is why education is important, because Obama becoming president, he's not going to come to the hood and give out jobs. He's not handing everybody $500 for reparations for Black. He's not doing that. So here's the thing. Yes, he's an influence. Thank God that he was able to get in office and have some kind of influence, but we don't depend on government for that. So I'm teaching my students, work for yourselves. Get that education, whatever your dreams and your goals are, do what you need to do to pursue it and get behind enemy lines. I was teaching them the real. I was giving them the real that we didn't really get in school. I learned more about my history from a Public Enemy and a KRS One record and an X-Clan record and a Brand Nubian record more than I ever did in school. So for me, it was easy for me to teach my students, about the American history. I want to teach them that so they can understand, okay, these things did happen. But now I'm going to give you our history now so that you know where you come from.
Absolutely. And that's the importance of music, because music can be a driving force for this.
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead, and Cheryl Wood says that, yes, Amy was amazing.
Yes, she was.
And Terry Johnson online is here. What's up, Terry Johnson? It is so good to see you. She also says that Prince was fearless. Absolutely. Tanya says, any for life. Clearly, somebody likes New Edition. Stephen Kaplan asked this. I must ask if you ever worked with one of my all-time favorite groups, Cameo and Larry Blackman. Cameo was it for me. Prince was one of the biggest losses in music history?
Well, to answer that question, yes, I opened up for Cameo. As a matter of fact, Tommy Jenkins of Cameo is like my uncle. Like he's one of my biggest singing influences. So I'm very close to the Cameo camp on every level. As part of 420 Funk Mob, we opened up for Cameo back in '97 when they were on their road for the live album that they had called Nasty. And here's an interesting thing since he mentioned Prince. Guess who was the drummer for Cameo before he joined Prince? John Blackwell.
Oh,
John Blackwell would end up joining Prince for the Musicology tour, but we knew John when he was playing with Cameo. So when I saw him years later, I looked up. I'm like, that's John playing with Prince. I was so rest in peace to John Blackwell. It's just a shame that he left us so early. But yes, Cameo without question, one of our biggest influences in terms of me and my band as well. Like we're very heavy on Cameo, and not just Candy and Word Up. I'm talking like the heavy stuff, like Rigor Mortis, Sparkle, Talking at the Side of Your Neck. I just want to be like all the real. If you're a diehard Cameo fan, you know all the early stuff. In addition to Word Up and Back and Forth and Single Life and and She's Strange and all that stuff. So yeah, definitely. Shout out to Cameo.
Love Cameo, love Cameo. Miss Mo is here all the way from Detroit. What up,
Yes.
Doe? And said Sessions, let's go crazy.
Yeah, Sessions. Yep, I was right.
Song.
That's
Yes.
Christian. It's my boy. Yes.
Okay, it was Sessions. Okay,
Yes.
and it was Let's Go Crazy. Wow, Miss Mo, you have I'm like, okay, there was so much I couldn't remember what it was, but yes, I was so surprised to hear tinges of Fela Kuti in Let's Go Crazy, because you think about it and you think about it as really a diehard rock song, but then you're getting okay, there's that Afrobeat, there's the R&B, there's a lot in there.
There's a lot of there's Little Richard when Prince is playing the piano very off key during that breakdown.
Yes.
Long version, not the short version everybody knows, but the long version where it changes. Prince is doing this whole thing, and then even in the movie where he's standing on top of the piano and he's playing the piano with his foot, that's Little Richard vibes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
And here's the thing, Let's Go Crazy is in my top 3 favorite Prince song, because that was the one song that I drove my mother nuts, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because that guitar solo at the end, I was determined. I was about 9 years old at the time? 9?
Mm-hmm.
I was determined to learn that guitar solo. And I started crying. And it wasn't because I couldn't really learn it. My mother's looking at me like, Lawrence, why are you crying? It's like, because my guitar doesn't make the same sound that Prince's guitar make. And this is before I knew. And my mother's boyfriend, God rest in peace, the legendary Mike Bailey, one of the baddest guitarists to come out of Southside Jamaica, Queens. Wow. He came to the house one day and he was like, so mom told me you was crying about your guitar. I think you have a nice guitar. I said, yeah, but it's not. I want that rock and roll sound. I want that same sound that Prince had. And he's like, well, Lawrence, that's because you don't have a distortion pedal. What's that? I didn't know what that was. And for Christmas, he bought me that distortion pedal.
Wow.
And like any other young kid that learns to play guitar, especially guitar, when he plugged it up and showed me how to use it, when I hit that first chord with the rock and roll sound, you couldn't tell me nothing after that. I was determined. I literally played the Purple Rain album every damn day, to the point where I would fall asleep with the guitar in my hand. My mother had to come and wake me up to go to bed. I'm literally like this with a guitar like this, like literally studying Prince note for note. I was determined to get it. And around 13, I finally got it. So for me, I had to share that real quick, because when you said Let's Go Crazy, I'm like, wow, how interesting that song becomes such an influence, because I wanted to play like Prince, or at least add his influence to my playing and get better and start listening to other guitar players. I can kind of up my style a little bit,
Yeah. Wow. That's such a great story. When you have that kind of support, that is amazing. So we have some more comments.
Go for it.
Serena is like, opened up for Cameo. I'm just, it's like sitting at the foot of the masters when talking to you. This is just amazing. And Cheryl Wood says to you, thank you. We need more teachers like you.
Oh, thank you.
Jay is here. What's up, Jay, from the Pacific Northwest? It is so good to have you here. Let's see. Let's see. And Ms. Will said, yes, the long version of Let's Go Crazy. She
Hmm.
is a super Prince fan.
I
If
know.
you don't, oh,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
so you know. So
Oh
you
yeah.
know, never mind.
We, can-
Uh
we have conversations. She's been to my page. She knows, like, we can get deep into depth conversations about B-sides and bootleg albums and Prince side projects. That's for the real diehard Prince fans. We have this kind of thing as to where it's like, don't get me wrong, Purple Rain is important. It is, but if you get around people like me and her and some other folks, my homegirl Lynn, I don't know if she's still in here, but you know, you get around us, you know, Purple Rain conversations are only this minimal. We talk about other albums and lyrics and meanings behind certain things and things that we just now kind of be like, oh, I just realizing that's what he meant when he said this, that, and the third. That's the kind of Prince fans I'm surrounded with, and I love it because we're all on one accord. Most of the shows I had 2 sold out shows in Minneapolis, and the thing that the critics and all the fans really love, because you know Prince fans are very critical when people do Prince covers, and we did a
yes.
10-minute Prince set that people are still talking about to this day, because they were just like, we love the fact that you didn't do the typical Prince songs. You pulled out songs that not even the tribute bands don't even touch, and that made me feel good. You
Wow.
know,
It's always a good thing to feel good and for people to recognize the tribute that you're trying to give to these artists. So
yeah.
that's always a good thing.
Well, yeah,
You know you've done something right.
that's true, and I say this with a rule because I honestly give credit to my originals, because truth be told, and I say this to bands all the time, if your originals ain't kicking, nobody ain't gonna want to hear your covers.
Well,
Your originals got to kind of be, and it's not a brag, I'm just being honest. I'm Because
yeah.
we spent so much time, I made sure that every show that I did at least 7 of my original songs. So for me, once the 7 original songs are being played and people are getting into it, then we can pull out cover songs. So when we went to Minneapolis, like when we go to Detroit, I'll do 6 of my original songs, and then I'll do some Motown stuff, and then I'll do some P-Funk stuff, because that's where all the classic P-Funk Parliament stuff was recorded. We Want the Funk was recorded in Detroit, United Sound Studio. So for me, it's like we're giving you the full spectrum. I know where I'm at. You know, if I'm in Chicago, I'm gonna do some Donny Hathaway. I'm gonna do some Earth, Wind, and Fire, because you know that's where Maurice White is from. You know, they from Memphis and Chicago and all these different places, and I'm gonna give them some blues. I'm gonna give them all of what people would expect if we come to your town. So in Minneapolis, of course, we did Prince stuff. We even did, of course, you know, my uncles, the time, you know, we definitely did some Morris Day and stuff like that. But they loved the fact that we didn't do the typical songs that most of the other bands do, and we put our Brooklyn swag on it. So that they really appreciate the originality, but we still kept the authentic part of what the Minneapolis sound is. So
Mm.
shout out to all the Purple family around the world that's shown me love, and a lot of them are trying to get me to play Paisley Park either this year or next year. So thank you for your votes and emailing the people at Paisley Park and letting them know that they want some fresh blood up in there. So thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so folks, what's up? If you're just joining us, you are joining a fantastic conversation. I'm on with Law today. He is a singer, dancer, rapper, musician, plays 10 million instruments. I've never seen a more talented individual, and he brought his talents to us today here on Mediascope. So
Thank
I
you.
am forever grateful. If you are just joining and you've never seen this, because I know that you shared this out to your page as well, Law, on Facebook, and you're a Facebook fan from there, welcome. Thank you so much for coming to see Law and me today on Mediascope. We are all things media, tech, and pop culture. This happens every week. Now, I don't always have guests, but when I do have guests, they're Law caliber. Just telling you, just letting you
Wow.
know.
Thank you.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to get to some more questions and
Yes.
comments. Let's see. All right. So Stefan says, OMG, Law has the best stories.
Thank you.
He,
So I've
he
been told, and I
also
appreciate that. Thank you.
he, he also says this, that you have to be one of the most amazing guests
Oh
ever.
wow. Thank you,
That
Steph. I
you're just
appreciate
loving
that, man.
every minute of this
Wow, thank you. I
discussion.
mean, it's good to hear. I mean, to further his comment, I always say, you know, the stories are real. I mean, when you don't have to lie and perpetrate a fraud or a front, that's why people love when I tell these stories, because I have nothing to lose, I have nothing to gain. And I think more so because you know, my legendary grandfather, Sam Bluesman Taylor, who's in heaven. No, there was no better storyteller than him. I mean, this man worked with the Ozzy brothers when they were still a trio back in the 60s before the other brothers joined on. And he told me stories that I always listened to. And then when I finally got in the biz for myself, they would bring up a story about somebody he worked with. I'm like, yo, Graham said the same exact thing. And I'm just like, so for me, it's crazy that I'm at this level now where I get to share some of my stories and different things I've experienced within the music industry, as well as tell the stories of some of the people who never had a chance to tell their stories. Because I think it's so important, you know, especially for someone like me. You know, I could be dead or locked up in jail. So the fact that I'm able to have stories to share, because there are many people in this industry that don't have a lot of stories to share. And the thing is, you know, people can learn from it, people can grow from it. And some people are very excited and fascinated about this sort of stuff. And then, you know how I know this? Not just because of what he said, but also because I get fascinated my damn self. Like when I think about this story, I'm like, damn, I forgot. Like, you literally had a one-on-one conversation with Larry Blackman about his drumming on those Cameo records. A lot of people forget that Larry Blackman is the drummer on all those records, like very much like Maurice White is on the Earth, Wind and Fire records. But because him and Maurice are such dynamic frontmen that you forget it wasn't just him going, ow, you know, I mean, that's part of who he was, but the image, but Larry Blackman is the man behind the beat and the arrangements and everything, that along with Tommy Jenkins as well, and all those guys. Same thing with Maurice White having the unit that he had in Earth, Wind and Fire. So people love to hear those stories, because I think people like him and so many other people among your guests, they want to hear from somebody who's really in the industry, that lived it, that talks it, and then most importantly, with all due respect, has the resume to back it up.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not perpetrating, I'm not lying. Some people have to lie to get people's attention and stuff like that. But my name is researchable. It's proof, it's documented. So at the end of the day, I think that's why people make compliments and comments like that. So thank you again, Stefan. I appreciate you for saying that, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So also, let's see. Serena's putting up a Purple Rain special in honor of Prince. Fresh pressed juice. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, wow.
She is on it. She is on it.
I see that.
David Benjamin Eccles, my favorite bison. You know, is here. Larry Blackman is Cameo, he said.
Yeah, I mean, I get why he's saying that. I mean, because he is the face, he's the energy, but with all due respect, Cameo is a band. Yeah. And what people have to remember, and I get why that's why I say I'm not disagreeing with him all the way on that. I'm not. It's very true. When you're the front, but you got to remember, Larry Blackman couldn't do it alone.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Certain things you could do alone, like Stevie and Prince can lay claim to that, especially Stevie, more so than Prince. But the thing is that there's always a lot of key components to what happens, because Larry Blackman didn't write Word Up by himself. Tommy Jenkins wrote that. So this is what I'm saying, more so, and that's their biggest album and their biggest record. That's the crazy part. All the hit records they had before they came out with Word Up, and their biggest record is written by him, Tommy Jenkins, and one of the other Cameo guys. So yeah, so I hear what he's saying, but at the same time, I always make sure that the other members get credit. You know, Nathan, Aaron Mills is still with Cameo, the bass player. He's still there, 30, 40 something years, 40 years in, still playing like a madman. So these are the guys that should get credit too for helping to create that sound in the studio and on stage too, in addition to Larry Blackman being the visionary.
Indeed, indeed. Derek is here. D Tuggle. What's up, D Tug? Good to see you. He's over on the Twitch side. And let's see. Serena agrees that 100% your originals must be tight. Stefan says that there are always two songs that can bring the house down anywhere, anytime. The Jacksons, Shake Your Body Down to the Ground, and Let's Go Crazy by the Purple One, the Master.
Boy, he ain't never lied about that. Those are especially Shake Your Body Down, because I do corporate gigs. And as soon as that, that man,
yes.
lose it, and then me and my boy Errol, we become Michael and Marlon. Literally. We literally body rolls and This shit, like we do,
Wow.
we do the whole, we do all the choreography. We do the exact choreography. We don't play around.
Okay, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah,
I can't wait to
we put
see
it
that.
down. We honor the Jack. I love all 6 Jacksons. Michael, Jermaine, and Marlon are my top 3. Like those guys, like in addition to everybody else. So when we do anybody, we always give it directly what people expect. If I do James Brown, you're gonna see James Brown in real timing with the splits and all too. So
Wow, wow. After Dark with Johnny Ray is here, and he is happy not to miss this. And you made a mistake at that. Yeah, I saw. That's what decline is for. Don't even worry.
he said he butt out.
Yeah, by mistake. I was like, but Johnny knows I'm on air. So I was like, I knew that was a mistake. No worries. And here's the thing for those of you that don't know, not that I have to say, but of course, I'm always upfront. So, of course, if you saw my threads this morning, my computer is in the Apple shop for like 5 days. So, of course, I'm like, I know I have to run this, but that's why it always helps to have a plan B. The
That
plan
part,
B
I agree.
is I have other devices that I can run this from, thank goodness. So right now, this is my iPad and my phone. So
And you
all the
killing it.
others,
You are killing it.
listen,
It's
thank
going
you.
great. I'm loving this.
Thank you. So it can be done. It can be done. There's no need to cancel. And since he said he's free today, I said, "Oh, I'm making a way.
Absolutely.
I'm making a way." And here
Absolutely.
we are. So it is doable. It is doable. Let's see. Also, who else do we have? Stefan says that he saw the Jacksons at the Garden in the day, and when they play "Shake Your Body Down," the whole building really
Yeah,
shakes.
somebody else told me that too. I was still a kid at that point. I went to the Victory Tour, but I didn't see the Triumph and the Destiny Tour. I was still too
Right.
young at that point. But a lot of my band members who are around the same age group, they always tell me stories. I've only seen it through YouTube and VHS. I've never experienced that until I went to the Victory Tour, and that was, of course, the last part of the Jackson's family component with all 6 brothers on stage. But I heard, like he told me the same thing. They said as soon as they did that, people just lost it. It became a crazy thing. So
Wow.
I can
Wow.
agree with that.
So we are now at 7:03, and I want to respect your time. So we're going
Oh, no,
to
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
I know, but we're going to respect your time. But I do want to ask you a final question.
Go for it.
So there are all these shows that they have, like for example, Unsung, etc., that are kind of like profiles of different music stars.
Hmm.
What would Law's Unsung look like?
That is a very interesting question. Um, in a lot of ways, I mean, it's kind of weird for me um, because of course I don't consider myself unsung. I've had this
Not at
type of
all.
theory where for those who know, for those who don't know, in those classic words, you better ask somebody, do your research. So, but if I had to pick that as a template, I would definitely say, just some more, just sharing a musical journey of how I was able to infiltrate the system and actually win on my own terms. Because in this industry, they show you so much of you have to do this to be successful. And the one thing the music industry as well as the movie industry has proven, there is no one way to be successful in this business. But people don't talk about it. But because of social media and the way it presents only this one thing, like if you have this amount of followers, you're golden, or if you doing this, or if you make a video like this, then things are going to be achieved. I said, well, I mean, not saying that those things don't work. Obviously they do. But what about the person who doesn't do that and still becomes successful? Because there's so many stories. If I had time, I can give you of so many artists in the industry who became successful not using the usual template of what it means to be successful. So that's what my unsung would look like. It would look like me basically giving them details of my journey from when I was signed to Henchman Entertainment, how labels rejected me, how I turned down deals that were given to me, things like that, like things that people can really understand, and be able to say like, wow, he was able to navigate and work with all these major people. I always tell people I'm an independent artist with major backing because, I mean, I didn't pay Lionel Richie to mention my name in the interview. You dig what I'm saying? I didn't pay Big Daddy Kane to shout me out a couple of days ago. When people know what you do, and especially if it's your heroes and people you look up to, that makes the world a difference. I don't pay people to co-sign and talk about who I am and what I do. You know, you'll see it just in the post and different things I may put up with different things like that. So I would say that that's exactly what it would look like if they had to show anything in reference to my career and what I've done and who I've worked with and where I'm going, you know?
Absolutely. And you know, the whole thing is unsung is not really people that are unsung. But I'm like, but they're not unsung, which is why I use that as the template. These are
Yeah.
people that had great careers that continue to have a great like yourself. And I'm honestly very humbled that you selected and elected to come on today and share your journey with us. Luther Vandross is here and says, great interview. You don't always find artists that will peel back the layers. Much respect, Law.
Oh wow, thank
And
you. Appreciate that.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, and somebody asks what your IG is. I'm going to put that up right now.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and this is his IG. So please follow him on Instagram. If you're not already, I'm sure most of you already are, but if you are not, please follow him. He is an amazing musician and beyond peel back all of this, he's just an amazing person. He
Oh,
is
thank
just
you. Thank
so
you.
humble, very
Thank you.
nice. I always enjoy coming on your lives just to hang out. And the
I
fact that
love.
you can,
I'll be seeing you when you come in, and thank you. And let me just say thank you for saying that. I feel it's very important because, you know, fame doesn't save anybody from being who they truly are. If anybody,
yeah,
if anything, it exemplifies it. So, when I hear compliments like that about, I think who I am as a person is the most important thing because when I'm on stage, I'm that guy. I am who I am. I do what I do. You know, it starts. It's showtime. It's star quality. It's what you got to do. That's part of when people pay money. We had a sold out show last week. When people pay money to come and see you and they know what to expect, it's showtime. But when I'm
mm,
off that stage, I change my shirt. I tell the fans, don't go nowhere. We taking pictures, we hanging out, or whatever. And that's because I'm a man of the people. And when you show love to the people that show love to you, they could have stayed home. So
yeah,
humility is what I exemplify, if nothing else. Because the thing is that when you have to self-promote, you can't be extremely humble because being too humble will get you and keep you overlooked and underpaid. And I always tell people this is a business.
if that doesn't deserve a water sip, I don't know what
Listen, I
does.
mean, I'm talking your language because anybody can relate. I mean, listen, I'm humble all day. I wouldn't be anywhere without God and my fans. Planet 12 is a
Yes,
grassroots movement. It started with MySpace. So my thing is
yes,
that I'm nothing but humble. That's why after the shows, you usually find me hanging out. I'll be like, Lord, you ain't go home yet? I'm like, no, I'm hanging out with the people, man. I'm having fun because they took the time to come and see me. They took the time to spend time with me and get to know me a little bit more beyond the music and just see how I've been like, wow, you funny. I always knew you was funny because you be cracking jokes and stuff and you Scorpio. I said, yeah, because that's an extension of who I am. But you get to know more about that when I pop on lives every now and then, and I
yeah,
show people the other side of who I am as a musician. But when you're running a business, because this is called the music business, and if
correct.
you don't believe in your, it's like you, if you don't believe in your platform, nobody else ain't gonna believe it either. So you have to. It's a certain type of confidence that you have to have when you're pushing that. And I always want people to separate the difference between, Law and Lawrence. Personality and persona are two different things. So I'm glad that you said that in reference because I didn't pay you to say that. You said that because you've gotten to know me. You took the time to
Absolutely.
get to know who I am beyond the scope of being law, the most talented, blah, 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 and all that other stuff. That's just fodder because that's social media and bills have to get paid. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I am super glad that I have taken the time to get to know you and that I
thank you.
know you. And I can't wait to when you come to Miami to see what you do, what a law
Oh
planet
yeah,
law
man.
show is about. Planet 12 show is
Oh
about.
yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Well, listen, you have been absolutely incredible. I
Thank you
once
so
again am
much. Thank you.
humbled that you chose to come on here and share with us. The audience loved it. Everybody on all the platforms, and especially on my personal Facebook. I'm so sorry that I could not flip over to like individually look at questions or comments.
Mhm.
But if there's something that you wanted to ask that I didn't get a chance to ask, I'll forward it to Law
Absolutely.
so
I
that
will
he can
gladly
answer
answer
it.
it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. So I apologize for that, but I'm working with skeleton. What's the name's today?
No, you
Skeleton.
Queen, listen
So
to me. You did listen. I mean, I'm pretty sure the fans know, but I'm gonna say this before we go.
yeah, yeah.
You are amazing.
Oh, thank
Keep being who you are. In the words of Maurice White, be ever wonderful.
you.
Stay who you are. That's one of my favorite Earth, Wind, and Fire songs.
Yes,
Stay
yes.
who you are. Your energy radiates, and just the fact that your platforms, everything that you're doing. And I'm telling you, God's not done with you yet. There's more blessings on the way for having the kind of heart that you have, for giving a platform to an artist like myself and many other people to tell their stories and share their view. And as a longtime fan of your show, for me, it was an honor just to even be in your presence. So thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Well, we're just two honored people, happy to be in each other's presences. And I'm
Absolutely.
going to let you go. But don't we're gonna go ahead and end, but don't leave yet, Law.
No, I'm
Talk
here.
to you
I got you.
backstage. All right, all right. So guys, thank you so much for hanging in with us. Once again, if there was a question you wanted to ask Law and you didn't get to, send it to me. I will forward it to him and he will gladly answer it. And what we're going to do is end the way we always do. I love you for watching. I bid you adieu. You guys, myself, Law, and all of this great information, we're all going to exit stage left. So until next week, where maybe we'll have another guest, I bid you adieu. Cheers, guys.
Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire. Fed with the same news, no channel to use. Cruise control mentalities, here we offer you. We gon' show you on your way. The content it never strays from positive and uplifting. Once a week is so gifted. With the presence in your eyes, what a distraction. Beautiful to soul, especially in action. This year not fashion, came in abundance. Films like in Sundance, tech like